incredible conference final thus far in the eastern side. EG and Cloud9, it all comes down to Bank. Like Zeronic talked about on the desk, some recent troubles for EG on Bank, but a long storied history that provides a lot of experience for them on this particular map. It was one of their mainstay maps way back in the day. A Ying being banned out by Cloud9 will start us off for our decider. The winner of this map will be headed to the National Championship.
First time we're going to see a Ying getting knocked out, but it's not too surprising, especially considering we're on Bank now. Hibana being the second ban choice, so instead being limited to Thermite and to some extent, obviously, Maverick to be used as hard breach.
And we saw that yesterday in our game between Rogue and Sinister. The Hibana was banned out, and there were a couple times where a Maverick was trying to open a hatch and would get shot through the Mav hole skyward. It's a tough road to hoe if you're a Maverick trying to pop open those hatches.
The final ban, Valkyrie. She's seen a little bit, especially more recently considering the changes that were made. That might explain why it's been knocked out here, since it's been so quintessential for both teams' defense on the first two maps. That's not too surprising to see that being kicked out for the final map.
Well, heading into round number one, honestly, this first half will be the telling story because of EG's faltering on attacks, at least in their game against Orglis. I mean, in this game, they've gone back and forth. They're up, they're not really down. They're just kind of level right now on their attacks. Like Zeronic talked about, their defenses, though, have been a mess. If they can find some semblance of coordination and continued success, if they can garner some momentum on this attacking side to start out, they should be good. But if they start dropping rounds early, we saw what happened on Villa. All it took was one extra round in that first half to be taken by C9, and they just ran away with it.
Now, another interesting story on the operator side, especially coming off of the bans, is that we're not going to be able to see Mira knocked out of play anymore, of course, so she's immediately going to be picked in, especially on a basement play. And that's going to open up a lot more effectiveness for the defending team to start this map off. We did see the 6-pick away from that clash, too, for those that thought we might be seeing another clash play from Foxe. Definitely will not be the case, and he's going to head over towards the Pulse instead to see if he can find some effectiveness off of that.
Yeah, I talked about on Villa as well, the stark contrast between Foxe and Canadian on their Pulse play. Foxe will get aggressive. Foxe most likely will not play the Pulse as just an info gathering operator. With Valkyrie banned, he might try and alter his mindset in that play and try and stay a little more reserved, but he's a very aggressive Pulse player versus Canadian who tries to stay as reserved as possible in those situations until he needs to spring into action. Foxe's not going to wait until he needs to. He's going to wait until he sees the perfect opportunity to jump in and shred through EG.
Attackers are moving out to locate a bomb and defuse it.
Speaking of which, we can see him already going pretty active. And potential roaming capabilities from him immediately being activated as he plays onto those primary steps. And we'll see where he chooses to go from here, as I imagine any potential early info that he'd get will heavily swing his movements from this point forward. But for right now, he's sticking onto those steps, and we'll play for intel from here.
Looks like EG are going to try and meet him head on for top square clear to start things off and move their way southwest. It's a pretty typical clear for them, but not having Hibana means you got to pick and choose what you're opening with your Thermite charges and what you're opening with your Maverick. Also being forced into a situation where you want to bring them both while attacking downstairs, but can't always take them both. Different compositions require the different loadouts. Foxe has actually been pushed off pretty deep from his initial position at the top of the south stairs. He's fallen all the way back to the objective now, so maybe he is taking a little bit more of a reserved role here on the Pulse as the lone info gatherer, as Echo and Maestro both being banned out, or sorry, Echo and Valkyrie, sorry, being banned out. He's got a big responsibility on his back to be able to continue to relay the info to the rest of Cloud9.
The attacker's bomb diffuser has been dropped.
For Young and the rest of EG, though, the first hatch has been opened inside of the offices. But it's still a very slow lead-up for them. They're cautious even in pushing the advantage towards Square over towards a potential server push down those steps. So really taking their time with this one, as the priority doesn't even seem to be there. It's a little bit different from what we normally expect to come out of an attacking side. EG are going to be trying to push from the other end of this side, which is certainly more uncommon.
Yeah, I'm actually quite confused to see the teller's desk hatch get popped in towards Vault when you don't have Hibana, and honestly, a lot these days. You never really see this hatch getting popped open unless it is a designated back push, which also is very, very far and few between. There are very rare instances at which, lately anyway, I can say in the last year of high-level competitive play, there haven't been many, at least effective back pushes on Bank, but it seems like EG might attempt their hand at it just based off of where they've sent their utility.
Well, Microsmoke's moving in now for these guys to try and go for the push, and it's little bit more explainable as being supported by the glass play as well from downstairs. He's still trying to work himself in from the garage, but still not finding much effectiveness. Most of Cloud9 will stay on the other side. Goddess will be able to pick up the first kill from over towards the inside of CCTV and server. She'll be very low as a result of that, though, and Gotcha will now find the trade. Not onto Goddess, but instead onto Foxay, taking him out of the play and bringing us down to a 4v4. Time is incredibly low, however, Laxing with a bit of an aggressive peek, and he misses his chance for a kill as Retro finds another. Canadian gets the knife, but Mark from the inside of the site will find a trade back. It's NVK to find one more just after that, though, so we go into a 2v2 now. Mark with an easy lineup to close out, and Laxing also finds the other kill for Cloud9 to take control of the opening round.
Well, we see whatever that push was. Honestly, that was that's a new one for sure.
Bit odd.
Everyone on the Cloud9 desk hyping it up. They're feeling pretty good, especially after that Villa game. And this is what you don't want to see if you're an EG fan, which is the stoic faces and trying to hype everyone up over on the EG side is young right now, but Cloud9 seem relaxed. Cloud9 seem fluid. They don't seem rigid. They don't seem stiff. They don't seem like they don't have any mobility about them. They seem like they're very flexible right now, and they seem very ease of mind or at ease of mind. They don't feel like they don't look like they're stressed at all. They feel relaxed, and that's new for C9. We've talked about them with comm issues before, and pressure issues have been a thing for them in the past as well, where bigger moments like this have been detrimental to their success. On LAN against EG, map number 3, I mean, they're even through one round, pouring out a wonderful performance.
Defenders, protect your bombs from being defused by
We'll
attackers.
work our way towards the first floor now. It's going to be Tellers and Archives is where we'll go to next, the more standard first floor site position. Of course, we still have the second one too, but that one gets used a lot less.
Interesting to see both the Ella and the Alibi, two roamers that hardly ever really get picked anymore. Alibi saw a pretty good amount of play when she first came out, but other than that, she's kind of fallen off the radar for the most part, and really the biggest benefit to bringing the Alibi is the Bailiff shotgun for mobility. You can maneuver the map as much as you want. You have impacts as well to make rotates, and you can pop open any hatch you want. The Ella as well, typically we'll see an Ella used downstairs on the server stairs with a shotgun with a deployable shield placed at the top of the stairs. That's kind of your typical Ella hold. This is also quite the setup. You've got the entirety of the Teller's wall ripped open, a mirror staring in towards it, and they're going to hold exclusively top floor. Try and hold on to that top pressure to make sure no one can displace. I guess it's just going to be Retro on site, and got us out in the hallway would be the closest operators for Cloud9 towards even the objective.
EG still going for a lot of intel gathering at this point, not moving too much beyond the second floor push in from the balcony just yet. As they try to bide their time a little bit here, and it's still early days, of course, so they've got plenty of it. We're eventually going to see players like NVK start to move in directly onto the second floor, instead of going for a more straightforward push towards something like the Skylight room. It's going to be slow broiling once again as Mark looks to hold control from the inside of the second floor sites, or what would normally be that. And in the meanwhile, we've got Gotcha moving in first off here into Square, taking solid control, just jumping in through the window on the north side. And also going to be moving to clear out areas like janitor closets. They won't deal with that, but it's Canadian from EG that strikes first, finding the pickup against Retro, and most importantly, knocking out a smoke, I think, before any of those gas grenades even have a chance to be used. Fox, though, trades it right back, knocking out Gotcha and putting us back into another even kill 4v4.
You got to worry about that site control with Retro being felled. He was the lone man on site. Goddess has now returned from her hallway position to come back in. Laxton taking a lot of damage and now will be down in the depths of the CEO, but Mark turning the corner will shred through Canadian, going for two, but NVK will shut him down. Foxay's returned for a potential revive of Laxing in behind the couches. No one peeking in just yet. We'll be able to facilitate it. Laxing and Foxay, the roaming duo topside as Goddess holds down the rest of the objective. They're waiting for the remainder of the clear through from EG.
So Ella back in play now, and Young striking once again for EG's side. Might have to drop down, but no! It's instead going to be Young that walks right into Laxton, giving them another potential for a pick. And that now puts us into a 2v2 situation. Necrox is going to firebolt the hatch to make sure he can go for the cross safely this time. And meanwhile, NVK has gone on a lurk of his own. He's looking to shut this down, but the castle barricade's going to get in the way of his own push. He'll have to continue wrapping back around. In the meanwhile, Necrox will put the diffuser on site, leaving Laxing and Foxay to push back in from the archive side.
attackers need to protect.
Positioning himself behind the mirror, just misses NVK peeking the right side of the door, and with all this visibility opened up from that wall, it's going to be hard for C9 to facilitate a retake. Laxing is going through the open area against the prone holes, but Necrox is well covering for it. Prone, he'll hit the shots to drop him. Foxay trades out Necrox. It's all NVK alone outside of the front lobby, right outside of the desk. Trying to stick the defuse now is Foxay right up against the diffuser. NVK being hesitant, hits the Elamine, but no, he'll land the shot. Just barely. NVK. Foxay must have been millimeters away from getting that diffuse off. A tough retake situation there for Cloud9. And I gotta say, for Evil Geniuses, that late round execute looked very sloppy. It was, at one point, NVK was getting a call to go upstairs to hunt the remaining roamer of Foxay, as Laxing had already dropped down through the hatch into open area. But halfway through that, Necrox takes the diffuser and starts planting alone in the objective. All what it taken was a two-step drop from Laxing to head in through the closet, in through the breach hole that was made by EG, and shred through Necrox while he's trying to plant alone with no coverage. It seemed very sloppy from EG.
Thankfully for NVK, the Elamine detonating on top of him was not the end of the round, as he already had a pretty good lock as to where that diffuser position was, so was able to just continue the spam on his rifle and close out the round. We're going to 6-pick away from the Blackbeard on Canadian. Let's see where to. It's looking like Sledge instead. A little bit more soft breach potential will come into the mixer for these guys. Instead of that entry power, it seems to have not really been needed based on the result for the last round, as most of the fight happened in the early game, not necessarily in that late round execute that ended up being very sloppy, as you mentioned, between the two teams.
Yeah, I was going to say, I can't remember the last time I ever saw Canadian on Blackbeard, so probably a good idea to show that on Canadian and then 6-pick off of it. He's going for the Sledge, and like you said, a myriad of soft breach operators for Evil Geniuses. It looks like Cloud9 are going to run back the same strategy. That's an interesting call. I liked what they were bringing as far as the setup goes, but once again, they're kind of suffering from the EG sickness of you lost one of your anchors on site in Retro, the first person to fall, and then Goddess shortly after that as well. Like, your site players are being targeted by Evil Geniuses while your roam game was really supposed to be the dominating factor. Same kind of instance here for Cloud9 as they run it back. They're going to need to keep their anchors safe, away from the pressure. Even if EG try to target them on site, they need to remain safe and not take the engagements. Let the roamers do the work for them.
So Canadian will take care of that default cam and now look to move in early. Onto the north side windows for an entry in towards the second floor. To hopefully give EG control of this a little bit earlier on in the round compared to what happened last time, where it was a back and forth affair in terms of who was vying for control of the second floor between EG and C9, and ultimately C9, for the most part, held control of it throughout that entire round. Push came to the shove. They were still forced downstairs though for the retake, and Mark taking this battle here around the corner by the front against one of the members of EG. Neither player taking damage though, and it's Gotcha on the other side of it. Looking to try and find impact, but unfortunately not the case. He doesn't want to fight that any further. Now they've lost a man, but Mark nearly having an opportunity to find the impact anyway, but he also is going to lose half of his HP from the fight.
Ill-advised gunfight coming out, and Mark will suffer for it. Canadian responding with an impressive frag grenade. Laxing has fallen off his typical roaming position upstairs. As they more focus on the objective now, will Cloud9 still having all that investment of utility and time upstairs. You have one man left, and I believe that's Foxay upstairs to hold things down, but the rest of Cloud9 focused on the site and trying to stall out the entry of Evil Geniuses. As they've done a good job of at least taking down Mark and ripping open parts of the map, but they're still out on rappels in the window midway through the rounds. They're going to have to start getting in and clearing.
Rest of EG, as you mentioned, now starting to finally move in and take second floor control, most notably. Gotcha being able to push himself forward and take CEO control, but he's now going to have to wrap back around to the other side. And over towards Janitor instead.
Gotcha inside of the conference room, just waiting for Foxay to make his move back up those stairs. Drones coming out as it looks like all of VG this time are going to file in through the main lobby, and a tough position to be in if they have ripped open that teller's wall with the mirror staring straight at them again.
A bomb has
Can't
been
really tell as
located.
Necrox peeks the corner. Although this is what they didn't have enough of last time, was Troy upstairs ripping open the floor, trying to cause some havoc for the anchors on site, trying to displace them out, and you see Retro and Goddess having to remaneuver, readjust their position now as their old favorite spots are no longer safe, with Canadian raining in hellfire from above, just trying to pick apart each last angle. Foxay in the elevator could be the linchpin in this, go for a late main lobby flank. and rip through the backside of Evil Geniuses.
Time again going to be incredibly low here. Necrox going for the first micro smoke grenades, and the players from EG having no choice but to push past the toxic gas grenades. Trades are going to continue to go back and forth, but Canadian is finding the impact for EG right now and gives them the one-man advantage. Laxing will move in on the L, Fox up, trying to play for the flank, but he believes he's been spotted. That is certainly the case, but regardless, Laxing's going to be able to push in. He manages to lose the wiggle fight between the wall, however, as Necrox trades him back. And now we're down to only one more player from Cloud9. He will also fall. Fox knocked out by Necrox, and Evil Geniuses pick up another round.
Good response there from EG to bring it back, and it's 2 successful rounds. Once again, I mean, that one was a lot tighter to the chest. That one was a lot better. Not as chaotic and messy as the last time, but they pick up consecutive wins. The crowd getting into it now. They're going to need you here. Attacking back downstairs. And honestly, if they try to replicate their last strategy attacking down here, I don't think they're going to find much success on it. Can't really even explain what the intention was other than to smoke off, cause chaos, and just overwhelm the locker site. It's not a strategy that usually works out much anymore, and everyone on Cloud9 playing the trade potential quite tight to the chest on their hold.
So operator lineup looks the same, but there's going to be a 6-pick off the glass, so don't necessarily want to say that anymore. So we'll see what Gotcha decides to go for. And he's going back to that Montaigne, which he had selected earlier, but instead wanted to show the glass. They're hiding the Montaigne and hope that this will work into their favor.
Attackers need to locate and defuse bombs.
Interesting that also Fox a 6-pick off the Clash and onto the Pulse. And once again, I imagine he'll be most likely fronting as a very aggressive roam early on, but he will be alone, and his best bet most likely will be to fall back, retreat to the objective, as he did the first time around. And for Evil Geniuses, I got a question. Also, not bringing the Maverick now, so you've only got Thermite to breach open hatches or walls. You've got to pick and choose what your priorities are as an attacking team. There's also a soft wall still inside of lockers. Maybe trying to shred it with a shotgun later on, or they're just going to leave it soft and possibly try and shoot the Thermite charge as it gets placed on the soft wall later on. Should EG elect to go for a much more standard server take? Last round definitely does not imply that they might have that inclination this time.
Activating drone.
Well, again, it's going to be droning to start off the round and primarily focus on the second floor to clear that out. And I believe from that balcony act as their entry point to move in towards square, which could be indicating a more standard push, like we'd mentioned previously. We saw the very odd one on the opening round. This time, might go for a more traditional take in towards Skylight, and then move down those server steps. It's Gotcha. That will quite obviously lead the charge on the Montaigne, moving in just to make sure there's no immediate lurking presence here from C9, and that certainly won't be the case. The players will be pretty far away from the situation. Even Fox, I believe, not really having himself extended out too far. Any of the positions, just playing onto that stairs once again, but he gets found out once more, not having the effectiveness he would have hoped for. NVK instead takes him down. There's good damage traded on to NVK. Won't matter too much until he gets to the site.
Fox tried to mix up his mentality on that one. Instead of starting out with that aggressive roam, kind of causing some hesitation for EG early on and then bailing back to the objective, he instead elects to start in the objective and then push his way up the south stairs, but he'll get caught out by NVK. A simple reset now at the hands of Canadian to the stock wall. And the rest of EG return their focus. Looks to be towards server, trying to facilitate a more standard push on the basement of Bank.
It's once again taking a lot of time to come to fruition, though. Mark's going to get spotted out by a drone. I didn't think he's actually able to kill the drone. He's forced back. The drone survives, and Mark will take himself to the bottom of the steps. They're setting up a Claymore in the meanwhile to prevent a more direct push against him and giving him more time to reposition down in the basement.
It's Gotcha alone right now in server as the shield, and honestly probably just trying to be as much of a distraction as possible. C9 did elect to leave this wall soft, and NVK clearly has breached through it. Gotcha now most likely trying to bait out the utilities. They have a minute to do so. Young is getting in position to plant it behind, but no, that Toxic Babe will bring him down to lower than half. Gotcha will press through and absorb the Nitro Cell from Goddess, the last one remaining as Fox had been felled earlier. A big utility loss for Cloud9 on delaying out this plant. The second Toxic Babe will land directly at the feet of Young, and he'll have to scamper back into server. Maneuvering back and forth. NVK holding from Garage as well, trying to battle with Laxing back and forth, but the Toxic Babe will drop Gotcha. The shield will be felled. Now pushing through, Cloud9 focusing their attention on the server push. NVK in a perfect spot to maneuver his way in and sneak in the backside and rip through everyone. Trying to go for the plant now, but Young is slightly exposed. Canadian and NVK both get two. Goddess trying to press up, will also be down. It's just Retro alive now in the 1v4. Two attackers on very low HP trying to press through, and Goddess might be revivable. Flashbangs, or sorry, a drone being sent up by MVK now to watch, and Retro's going to try and press the advantage. Sees him at the bottom and will finally shred him through. Left alone, Goddess unrecoverable inside the depths of CCTV. An SMG-11 at long range trying to utilize the mirror to assess his position, but he's got nowhere to go. The diffuser is both being covered from multiple angles of the server rack and the stairs. The third attacker of Young deciphering in behind him, and now Retro takes a lot of damage to the backside. There's nothing left here to be done for Retro but to sit and dance, waste the time, and C9 will regroup. An easy closeout there for Necrox. He gets his second confirmation on Goddess. And EG will take the lead once again.
EG, another solid push for them. As Cloud9, unfortunately, are going to continue to falter on these defenses. And what before was a big success, but that's primarily due to the very odd push that we ended up seeing from EG. Now it's them that take almost every single round since then, and will cause a pause to move in from C9.
Attack break for them to refocus, talk to Virus, their coach. Honestly, regroup as this is another weird one, a weird first half for the EG games that we've seen. Every game except for the Villa game, and now this one was 2-2. Now we have a 3-1 separation once again, but this time at the hands of Evil Geniuses as compared to C9 that ran away with the scoreline on Villa. It's a good resurgence for them. I think they've gotten away with a couple lucky rounds there on the attacks of Teller's Archives. There were a couple moments where it really looked like EG they lost their self-composure and their communications broke down to a very poor degree, but they've escaped with the rounds, and that's basically all that matters. You want to get that win, and even an ugly win is a win. Trying to press through, and it looks like Cloud9 are just about ready to get back underway after their tactical pause. Looks like they're angling in to go back downstairs to lockers and CCTV, and it makes the most sense after losing consecutively on Teller's Archives. No CEO selection, no open area selection. We're going to rock with two objectives for Cloud9 on their last defensive half, lest we go to overtime.
The Clash not immediately being 6-picked away this time either, so Foxay potentially actually going to play with that. We'll see in just a moment. Mira also back into the mix now, once again being played by Goddess, and yeah, they're going to stick with a Clash. So we'll see how well this fares for them in the basement. At the very minimum, it'll be a lot more capability to directly hold off those pushes from EG, which for some reason Cloud9 has suddenly been struggling with. They were doing great at being able to control those, I think, on some of the previous maps, but this time is not the case. Meanwhile, EG have brought the Maverick into the fold once again. In addition to the Thermite, so they do have that little bit of extra hard breach potential.
Once again, the wonderful stats provided by CGG Spleck on site. The only time Cloud9 has lost on Bank with this roster was a week after it was formed. They've won 5 straight on Bank now. We talked about Evil Geniuses' murky recent history with Bank. I mean, this is a good start, but Cloud9 have definitely shown the potential that they could have walked away with a couple of these rounds as well. I don't think by any means this will be heading to a 4-1. I think we're going to be back in a 3-2 scoreline heading into the second half, and it's going to be a barn burner all the way to the end.
In fact, these two teams did play just this map at DreamHack Montreal in the groups, and it was very one-sided in the favor of Cloud9. This is already a far cry from what we saw there, as that map ended up going 6-1 in the favor of C9.
So we're going to have some shield-on-shield action as Gotcha picks up the Montaigne and Foxay holding the Clash on the server stairs. Just another strategy to try and hold those server stairs. We've seen shotguns, we've seen the automatic shotgun on the Italian operators. It's been it's a fun carousel to see what else gets elected to be used in the shield-on-shield matchup right up against each other. But it'll be Foxay doing very, very slight amounts of damage to Gotcha on the shield with that 3 damage per zap. So Foxay still continuing to hold. You hear the crowd elated at the sight of Foxay against Gotcha on the 1v1 with the shields. No one really coming in support. It's been a minute now, and EG have done a lot of time gathering information.
Gotcha unfortunately just can't stay in the open. He will eventually bleed down to nothing. Necrox is going to be hit by that. They will start to push themselves forward. It's not the easiest job in the world. They obviously will have to take down the reinforcement first off, and Foxay realizes that it's gone. Will still continue to deal damage to the Montaigne, as now they've got him down to about 75% of his HP here, while the rest of the team is still opening up more reinforcements. The drone coming in to help out a little bit with intel gathering for these guys as they push down the steps, and once again the shields are going to meet face to face. The Montaigne is still trying to directly push this regardless like you said, the very minimal damage that he's been taking here. And in addition to that, I believe the players supporting the Montana is going to help out with this. Tries to take down the Clash, but it won't work. He'll get forced out again. The Thermite also will try to push in, but no! Gotcha will be eliminated. Young moves in for the trade, but he can't easily deal with the Clash. He needs to get close enough to stunner. Still, even after the melee hit is hit, there we go. Canadian is going to be able to move and take down Foxay, eliminating that Clash presence. In addition to another one that was also knocked out as Mark has fallen on the Jaeger.
A resurgence of pressure and momentum on the side of Evil Geniuses, but Young, the diffuser carrier, on about 10 health left remaining. We're also going to need some soft breach to open up the close server wall. Retro will be lancing in his Toxic Babe to try and rip through what is left of Young and anyone who should join him on the plant cover. The EMP launched directly up against the mirror, and the first Toxic Babe will land at exactly 30 seconds and detonate. Retro still has 2 remaining. This is an easy lockout as far as timing. They're going to have to push through and get aggressive on the plant. Retro timing his Toxic Babes perfectly, but taking damage to the wall. Necrox will shred through Goddess on the mirror. As he comes downstairs from the backside, Retro will shut down NVK. The rest of the plant facilitated now. Young has been down. Necrox will beat down Retro, though. It's just Laxing left alive at the hatch. Trying to stick the plant inside of lockers, it appears. As Necrox is holding, the plant gets completed. Laxing coming down in a 1v2. Pressed right up against the soft wall, trying to retreat to the hallway, taking even more damage on the pre-fires. He had no idea where the diffuser is, and he just shift W's in. Laxing, no control or presence in the clutch. Very unusual compared to the clutch situations we've seen him in.
Canadian will get the closeout, as we do see EG take an incredibly definitive advantage in their favor, as we'll now switch sides on to the second half, where it's going to be EG on defense, Cloud9 on attack, and must immediately resurge. Otherwise, with only a single round won by EG on this half, they'll already be up at map point.
The crowd getting into it, and they've swung once again to the Evil Geniuses' favor. CEO defense coming out for Evil Geniuses. Gotcha gonna be 6-picking off the castle to Elysian. It's an interesting one given that they want to hold CEO. The castle, one of the most popular operators up there on bank on CEO defense, but they'll like for all the soft rotation holds, I presume. A CEO defense, something we haven't seen yet in this matchup. Only seen Teller's Archives and the basement blockers and CCTV. Foxay once again picking up his stead on the Jackal. It's Canadian and Necrox right now leading the way in terms of frags, 8 and 7 apiece versus some equality on the C9 side, just not the surpassing of double-digit kills like we've been seeing out of Foxay recently, and Laxing on Villa.
Yeah, unfortunately, the impact that we are seeing out of Cloud9 off the time ends up mattering not, ends up not really contributing a whole lot to the outcome of the round at the end of the day.
5 seconds remaining.
There will be nothing in the long run of things if they can't figure out how to close out these rounds, and they can't figure out how to stop the site push, especially on basement. And we're working out so well. But obviously, we have switched sides, so that will no longer be a problem. We'll have to hope that Cloud9 has recentered themselves a little bit better for the attacking side of Bank, as Evil Geniuses have gotten themselves off to a roaring start. And it's just a few simple steps away from them closing out the Eastern Conference Finals and earning the first spot in the National Finals at the end of today's show.
Joining in for Foxhead to make his entrance in through the garage, and that's honestly not atypical for him. He's been a solo performer as of late, especially in this matchup against Evil Geniuses, always trying to push in on his own and make his own impact. Got a friend with him in the terms of Laxing's drone and the cardiac sensor of Pulse. The operator holding it, a Canadian, will be forced back once again by those Jackal tracks. It's been Foxay against Canadian at nauseum in this matchup of the best of 3. He'll rip back towards the south stairs, but will evade the presence of Foxay as he hadn't creeped up to the landing to be able to take aim towards Canadian. He'll make it back to site. The Jackal pings will confirm so, and C9 will continue their advance.
And while Mark and some of the other players continue to throw aggression further into this building, so they've already cleared out the basement to make sure no roaming presence can be effective there. And are now doing the same for the first floor as they continue to inch closer and closer to that site. Laxing's obviously going to take the check onto the players over here on the banana, and it's a simple one tap from Laxing to find it. Pick up, but the immediate trade followed up by NVK at long range with the Alda.
Looked like it was going to be a quick 2-piece for Laxing to bring Cloud9 back into it, but a 1-for-1 trade. Use the Glass for the Pulse. It's be honest, it's a pretty even trade on either side. Oh, an aggressive peek coming out from Necrox from the janitor closet. Drop Retro below 50 HP, just about 40, and it talks to be able to repel any further engagement. Fox as well had the pinch. Gotcha dealing with him as well, suppressing him back in towards the stock room. 60 seconds will now start to tick away from Cloud9 as they need to make that forward progression.
So Cloud9 once more struggling their capability to find some of this early control that they so desperately need to get themselves over towards the site. No damage done to meeting room to potentially allow them more intel, meaning they're going to have to basically rush right in blind. Still having to deal with any of the mirror setups that are going to be up here on the second floor as well. Is another problem that they haven't even seen yet, let alone having to face. Gotcha, ready to go. The smoke ends up biting Cloud9 back. However, there is an immediate trade seen by Foxa. Brings it down into a 3 versus 3 as Cloud9 are fighting for survival in all reality here. But the Maestro once again going to be able to hold off strong. NVK finds to pick up the phone call, has come in, but it seems to not be affecting these players all that much. The phone call, excuse me, the goo mine affecting that player. Now that brings us in only 2 for Cloud9 at this point. NVK with yet another pickup. Retro does find himself a trade back, but we're down to only 1 now at Cloud9. He'll also fall to Necrox. EG on map and series point to close out the Eastern Conference and move them into the National Finals.
1 round, 3 minutes. Evil Geniuses. All they need is a well put together push for 1 more round and it'll all be over. They'll be headed to the National Championship against the winner of our Western Conference final right after this. The crowd fully on the favor of Evil Geniuses. They look to wrap things up. Teller's Archives looking to be our last defense on bank and in this best of 3 as a whole. Evil Geniuses on the precipice of victory. Cloud9 backs against the wall. Must battle back.
We see the Mira getting 6 picked out to a Vigil instead. So, EG gonna feel confident to play without the Mira, despite it being locked into the pool for first times in this series now. Opening up a lot more potential for play. They'll bring the Vigil in instead to add more lurking capability and possibility to shut Cloud9 down once again in the early round.
See from the scoreboard there again, I was signaling out Canadian and Necrox at 8 and 7 apiece. NVK at the time had 5. He's now joined the ranks of Canadian and Necrox, all tied for a 3-piece lead at 8. The analyst desk touched on it again a couple times. When NVK arises to the occasion, Evil Geniuses are in a good place, mentally and statistically. Up 5-1 now on bank, looking to close things out with the Teller's Archives defense. Looks like they're emulating part of what Cloud9 were bringing, but not with the castle barricades and fully rigid hold of the CEO and meeting room. They're going to play a little more fluid as they have a lot of flexibility with their operators.
Now, we do have Cloud9 out on the board for what could be the last time of this tournament now. If they're not able to rebound very quickly and run these next 4 rounds consecutively, it'll keep them in contention and to play for overtime on map 3 to move them into the national finals. It's gonna be Foxa entering first over into the lone office. He'll take a quick hole punch into the wall just to check to see if there's any lurking presence in the hallway, but won't find much. He does come under pressure though from players, I believe, behind Tellers. Ultimately, it's gonna be Canadian that enters the first fight on the Vigil, quickly knocking out Mark and bringing it down to a 5v4 advantage for them.
This is exactly what I didn't want to see from Cloud9, them getting overzealous and jumping in, all of them trying to individually make a play. They need to work better as a unit together and not get distracted by the scoreline. Obviously, you need to win this round. It's a must-win situation, but you need to remain composed. Don't get ahead of yourselves. Mark is trying to send himself on a solo push through open area, gets shut down rather swiftly by Canadian, not taking a single point of damage in the engagement. And it's a rough start for Cloud9 as we're approaching the midway point of the round now. Canadian has made his flank entirely over to the bottom of server stairs. The crowd behind the midway point and possibly the last round.
You hear them getting amped up now as they know it's coming to a close. Canadian once again jamming himself as he moves forward, finds an additional pick against Retro. Cloud9 continue to falter, unfortunately, for their fans that are here. And EG get closer and closer, locking it down, but there's a fight back from Foxy and Lexing to bring the round back alive for Cloud9 and put us into a 3 versus 3.
2 men off site, Canadian and NVK, both holding opposite stairwells as Fox has made his way into Archives with the objective Young trying to swing around as well. All three members for Evil Geniuses offside as the smokes get laid down by the attackers of Cloud9, trying to push through and facilitate a plant. So slightly early on, they'll smoke off the kill holds that MVK has on the Teller's walls. Thermite charge coming out, but Canadian strikes through another one. Foxay will fall, 3 kills in the round for him. Wild sprays in anticipation for Goddess of anyone trying to get aggressive on her exothermic charge hole. Goddess still pressing outside of the desk with nowhere to go. Diffuser in hand, and Laxing still on the hunt to find NVK. He's circled back towards the objective on the far east side. They've all cycled in into the backside, lighting up Goddess, but Goddess will win that out. A beautiful headshot through the racks. Laxing is still distracted on 10 HP. Over inside of Archives, Young in the middle of that engagement. It's 2 separated 1v1s. Both the C9 attackers left on very little HP as Goddess pushes in the right Teller's door. Laxing holding for the plant from the far staircase. Canadian pressing up now inside of Teller's. Right up against the Teller's wall, hitting through the rotate. The plant gets completed, and Goddess turns the angle. Wide peeks and shuts down Canadian. Young left alone in a 1v2. Both of them on 1 bullet's worth of HP. Pressing through the left door inside of Teller's will approach the diffuser cautiously. Laxing holding on the stairs. All it takes is 1 flash of yellow. Goddess will fall! Young against Laxing in a 1v1, but Laxing has the high ground. All he has to do is wait for the audio cue that Young is trying to defuse. Young pressing right up against it, holding the defuse, and Laxing will turn the corner, shooting against the wall, but the shots aren't landing. Young lasing in unlimited amounts of ammo towards the top of that staircase, trying to bait out another peek from Laxing, but Laxing is playing it safe. Now Young has to commit. There's no time left. Cloud9 will survive and live on another day.
Laxing gets it done with the timing play, backs himself up and out of trouble, and is able to eventually catch the Maestro creeping through as he tries to open up the remainder of the wall. But it will not end up working out. He will not be able to chase down that kill, and Cloud9 find the first of, unfortunately, many rounds that they still need to piece together if they're looking at overtime. 3 more in a row from this point forward.
3v5 comeback, and it's instilled the faith in the fans. Beautiful comeback work there from Cloud9. So lockers and CCTV will now possibly be our final resting place for Cloud9, but getting some separation from that wall they were just previously backed up so tight against. All it takes is 1 to start the comeback. They're going to need, again, 3 consecutive rounds of near perfection to pull this off. I think Cloud9 has it in them.
We're going to see the glass stay in play this time, so that's going to add a lot to that potential server room push. If we see the players on Cloud9 taking the normal route, we generally expect might aid them in their smoke play as well when they finally go for that plan, as that wall is oftentimes hard to play around. That leads into the red hall. The players on EG choosing once again to leave the Mira out of play for this one, and instead keep Canadian over on that Vigil once more.
Fully reinforcing off the lone office walls and towards elevator hallway on the main floor will be Young, and Impact, or sorry, just a shotgun made rotation on the exterior Teller's wall towards the elevator hallway as well. It leads me to believe that Evil Geniuses are going to play this much differently than they had previously, where they stationed themselves all 5 on site for the most part, except for the one man flexing up and down the south stairs. But now Evil Geniuses in a position to start holding onto a lot of map control, a lot more map control than we typically see on the basement hold of Bank.
And again, I think that's because they're looking to limit the strength of the early round from Cloud9, looking to try and pick those guys off if at all possible. Might not prove to be the easiest thing in the world, but they've got Cloud9 on the run right now, and unfortunately some of the mainstays for that fraggy potential are a little bit more hit or miss here on Bank. Foxay shifting away, but it's the jump out from Canadian. Problem is he's in the open right now. He's got to make a mad dash. He'll stand his ground for a moment. He knows there's players around the corner, and we'll peek him at any second. And there is the trade from Mark. An easy pickup for Cloud9. The loss of their Jackals certainly going to hurt their capability to clear out that roaming capability.
I'd honestly say a worthy sacrifice. You get 2 smokes off the board when you have a Glaz in play that Laxing is playing. You've got you've burned a minute now, and you've caused everyone on Cloud9 to rethink, to reassess, and again, try and double check their droning. Oh, they'll spot out Gotcha here inside of inside of open area. More drones will flee in, and Gotcha will also flee down the hatch, narrowly escaping to safety as Mark was pressing through once again on that aggressive Ash. This time not losing his head for it. A good sacrifice there by Canadian on the jump out, though.
Yeah. And now, of course, losing the Vigil, they're not going to be able to have that roaming capability. Remember, though, he was quintessential shutting down what would eventually push them up to round 5 just a little while ago. And without him in play, they're missing a lot of that fragging potential from the late round here. He's going to have to hope that the rest of their players will be able to hold on strong. Thankfully, for the most part, everyone from EG is showing up in this map, is finding that impact. And it now falls to Cloud9 to make up for the lack of Foxday. So he's been eliminated in the early round. We've got Laxing on the peak early on, trying to see through the hatch if he can spot any players. Nothing going to be revealed, though. Players on EG back to focusing on the site and pretty much the site alone. It's up to Cloud9 to breach past this very hard lock setup.
Retro making his way into server, clearing out the barbed wire, and understanding that his position is safe. Goddess getting the exothermic charge on the soft wall that was left open, and no one from EG going to take the risk of shooting it. At least attempting to. The wall will get opened up for the plant spot. Retro also making a peek hole with the Maverick torch on the far side reinforcement. Making one head height, and that's one crouch height as well, but we've approached now the last 30 seconds in the round, and it's going to be an easy walkout here for Necrox, but he still has all of his utility.
Gotcha's still holding himself back as well in the event we do see that garage push, but they've got an Evil Eye position in garage, so should be able to get plenty of warning upon that. Goddess trying to make a push. The smoke grenades once again get into the way. She'll be forced out. Laxing will try to take position on the inside of the smokes once again to play on him. Most importantly, trying to eliminate the castle that's still holding on the inside, but no, it's going to be Mark. And again, Mark that finds the impact, dropping into the hatch, goes for another one as well, and knocks him down to finish him off only seconds later. It's all on to NVK. He's still sitting well up on the first floor as well, with no real position to knock out the players from C9. The diffuser's already been planted, and unfortunately NVK's lost his only real chance to stop Cloud9 from running away with this round now, as they absolutely dominate on the push, and Laxing picks up one more to finish it off for Cloud9. They're rebounding, but still it's a long way to go.
5-3 now as Cloud9 inches further and further back into the fray, trying to make this an overtime game, but EG, 2 chances to knock him down. They fail to do so. 2 more remaining, and Evil Geniuses still scampering to try and find a defensive site that will work. 3rd different objective in 3 different rounds now. It will be Executive Lounge and CEO. Top floor defense on bank for Evil Geniuses. Try and work their way out of. They did win it the first time around off of time. It was Retro as the lone man on the Maverick trying to press through. It's a great peek from, I believe it was Necrox outside of the janitor closet, or it might have been Gotcha, sorry. Once successful before, Evil Geniuses now, again, only have 2 remaining shots to close this out on map 3 before we head to overtime if Cloud9 can run it back.
So with our pause, I believe, concluding relatively soon, EG trying to figure out exactly how to make up for the issues of these previous rounds. Well, as you said, attempt to do it on the 2nd floor where they've had good results before. Cloud9 running out of time on their last attempt to close it out. Unfortunately, those issues still resurfacing on pretty much every round for the attack on Cloud9. It could potentially swing into EG's favor with really just some well-timed gas grenades tossed out by Necrox there. Cloud9 have been doing a much better job, mind you, forcing those gas grenades out into the open earlier. That may not become a problem, but you can hear it. The crowd wants that Cloud9 comeback, and Cloud9 have to be feeling that momentum. They can't hear it, they can feel the bass, that's for sure. And they're gonna work off of that for as long as they can to try and push this all the way up to 5-5. A 6 pick from Canadian this time, over towards Rook, actually.
Putting Canadian on the slaying ACOG role, most likely help out with impacts as well. Instead of going to Doc for the self heals and healing up teammates, they'll just drop everyone some armor, but also take those important impact grenades necessary for making rotations and really carving up the structure of the map to your own on your setup. It's also reinforcing those same lone office walls just on the upper tier of the floors, right above the spiral staircase. This time they bring out the castle. Last time they didn't on their CEO hold. They didn't elect to bring out the castle to stop the purview of windows, especially with Laxing playing Glaz, getting that initial pick onto Canadian, and almost a double kill onto NVK as well on the repeat. Just another ACOG upstairs to help contest those windows will be great for Canadian as well. Evil Genius is once again in a position to close this out, but Cloud9 on a resurgence path.
The Mira finally coming into the fold here as well, something that, like we mentioned, Just been a little bit more underutilized, I would say, in this matchup, as the team's just not preferring to bring it in despite it finally being left in the pool. Much like the Glass play, but we saw obviously quite a bit more of that. We're seeing it right now even by C9 to try and utilize these pushes a little bit better, trying to use the windows, and of course, the massive amount of smokes that they're constantly bringing, just give them a vision to pan through and hopefully pick up some earlier kills against EG to prevent them from pushing up to 6 and closing this out in regulation so that they can trigger the overtime and they can be first to push to 7.
See, once again, Mark has been slated in this role for a while now in this match on the Ash. Just trying to make those solo entries, very similar to Foxay's position. So now they've got them both out on their own solo missions, trying to accomplish some clearing of any possible roamers established by Evil Geniuses, and that hasn't really been the case. EG, for the most part, have played very close to site, especially on their CEO hold last time around. I think the furthest person off site was Gotcha in the elevator in the hallway. Maverick hold from Retro up against the square reinforcements. I'm bouncing back and forth, not really sure where to peek.
Not gonna punch them actually, but as you can see, EG have plenty of eyes on that, so it's not gonna be easy for him to find any potential picks from the holes that he's made. As you can see, Canadian not playing off the site, not trying to roam too much on this. He's actually, found a nice spot against Goddess. That's the diffuser gone down as well. Should be pretty easily recoverable, mind you. But Canadian certainly finding that impact, just maybe not the position we would have expected, as it's deep inside of the site.
Problem with that too is that's your breacher off without being able to open up those top square balcony walls. It's a bad position to be in for Cloud9. They're gonna have to push through with fragging force more than anything. They still have 4 smokes and Laxing to push through on the glass, but Laxing is currently preoccupied with the repels outside. Prone up against a hard mirror facing janitor closet as well means another possible entry will be denied. Retro though will trade one back through his holes onto NVK. Leveling things up at a 4v4, but C9, if they're gonna go, need to get in position now.
Less than a minute remaining for Cloud9 to get this done. They've pushed the timer on both of the previously won rounds by them, however, so it would not be a surprise if we saw them do it once again. And they're not gonna have much of a choice, almost approaching the 30-second mark now. Cloud9 aren't even close to the site yet. They're grouping up their team at the main stairway now to try to make a push towards the inside. Gotcha found another kill to trade out Retro's earlier frag. Young gonna try to go for one on the C4, but it won't work out. And Canadian will pick up an additional kill. Cloud9 are falling apart at the seams, and this may seem to be the end of the matchup unless Laxing can pull off an absolutely miracle 1v4 play. Starts it off well, but he's got less than 10 seconds to make the impact that I just don't think it's possible. The shotgun ready to go. He's found a second kill, but time is getting lower and lower. He's gonna be forced into a situation where there's nothing left, so Evil Geniuses close it down on the timer. A 2-1 victory for them to win the Eastern Conference Finals and push them into the National Championships.
Just running out of time at the end where Cloud9, a lot of time devoted to setting up, losing the hard breacher in that last round. The Maverick hole is also devastating. Evil Geniuses, I guess, throwing by the wayside the skeletons of their past, at least recent history on Bank, that is, returning to possibly their former glory on the map. Both teams played incredibly well. I was very impressed by Cloud9, especially their dominance on Villa. That was probably the best match we've had all weekend. Even Orglis EG was close to that, but Evil Geniuses have been putting on phenomenal performances in general.